Kevin always believed he knew his wife better than anyone else. 7 years of marriage built that kind of trust. Or at least that's what he thought. At 36, he worked as a veterinarian at a clinic he'd helped start, while Lisa, 34, spent her nights and early mornings at the regional hospital as an A nurse. Their marriage ran on alternating shifts, but it had always seemed solid. Quick dinners between shifts, sweet texts during the day. Plans for the future that included maybe adopting a child once things settled down a bit. Their routine had its own rhythm. Kevin would get up early to see the clinic's first patients, while Lisa came home in the morning, exhausted after 12 hours of emergencies. They'd cross paths in the afternoon, share a few hours together before she headed out again for her night shift. It wasn't the kind of marriage you saw in movies, but it was real, built on mutual effort and small gestures of affection that Kevin truly valued. He assumed Lisa valued them too. December arrived with its usual holiday buzz. Every year, the hospital where Lisa worked held a secret sauna among staff, an event she always joined with moderate enthusiasm. In past years, she'd buy simple, practical gifts within the suggested $25 limit. A personalized mug, a coffee shop gift card, things like that. So Kevin was surprised when he checked their shared credit card statement and saw an $850 charge from an Apple store. Sitting at the kitchen table with his laptop open, Kevin stared at that number. $850. An iPad Pro for a $25 secret sauna. The discrepancy was so absurd that for a moment he wondered if it might be a system error. A double charge, anything that made sense. But the date lined up perfectly with the day Lisa had casually mentioned needing to buy a gift for Secret Santa. When she walked in that morning, Kevin was already awake and waiting. Lisa came through the door with that familiar exhaustion in her shoulders, tossed her back on the couch, and headed straight to the kitchen for a glass of water. Kevin watched her in silence for a few seconds before speaking. "Lisa, I need to ask you something." She turned toward him, still drinking, and made a soft sound of acknowledgement. "I saw the credit card statement. $850 at the Apple store." She nearly choked on the water. Lisa swallowed too fast, started coughing, and put the glass down on the sink with trembling hands. Kevin watched panic flood her face like a wave. "Oh, that." She wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, avoiding his eyes. I got confused. I thought it was for another event, you know? It wasn't for Secret Sauna. It was for a hospital thing, a charity raffle." Kevin tilted his head, processing her answer. 7 years with someone teaches you how to spot a lie. The way she looked away, the way her words tumbled out too quickly, tripping over each other, that wasn't the truth. "A charity raffle," Kevin repeated slowly, flatly. "For $850, and you didn't think you should have checked with me before spending that kind of money?" "Kevin, I was going to tell you. I just forgot with all the chaos of my shift." Lisa was already backing toward the hallway. "I'm exhausted. Can we talk about this later? I need to sleep." She disappeared into the bedroom before he could respond. Kevin stayed seated, staring at his laptop screen, that number blinking like a red warning light. $850 for who? Why? Her explanation made no sense at all. And the more he thought about it, the more it gnawed at him like a splinter buried under the skin. That night, while Lisa slept deeply behind a closed bedroom door, Kevin did something he'd never done before. He picked up her phone from the nightstand, unlocked it with the password they'd always shared, the 4 digits of their wedding date, and started looking. He didn't know exactly what he was searching for. He was just following an uneasy instinct that kept growing in his chest. At first glance, her messaging app seemed normal. Texts with coworkers, group chats about shift swaps, nothing suspicious. But then Kevin opened the default messaging app and scrolled past recent conversations. That's when he saw the name Dr. Marcus Reed. His heart pounded as he tapped into the thread. The latest messages were from 2 days ago. "Loved the gift. You? Didn't have to spend so much, but thank you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow." Lisa's reply, "You deserve it." "And I can't wait either." Kevin scrolled upward, reading message after message. There were months of history, declarations of love, plans to meet up, photos that made his stomach turn. Marcus sent selfies from his car. Lisa responded with heart emojis. He wrote, "You're amazing." And she replied, "You make me feel alive again." There were messages sent during her shifts in the brief breaks between emergencies. Messages where he complained about his wife, saying their marriage had been dead for years. Kevin read every word with surreal calm, as if he were reading about someone else's life, but it was his life. It was his marriage crumbling in digital sentences and secret plans made behind his back, and lies carefully stacked over months. Kevin took screenshots of everything. Methodically, without rushing, he captured every incriminating conversation, every photo, every whispered promise across the screen. Then he returned the phone exactly where it had been, locked it, and quietly left the room. He sat on the living room couch in the dark, early hours and looked at his own shaking hands. Anger, sadness, and a strange sense of relief swirled inside him. Relief because now he knew he wasn't crazy. He wasn't paranoid. That outrageous gift had an explanation. And that explanation was worse than anything he could have imagined. Kevin searched the name on Facebook. Dr. Marcus Reed, cardiovascular surgeon, 42 years old. Married, 2 smiling kids in the profile picture, a boy and a girl. His wife's name was Rachel. According to the bio, she worked as a freelance graphic designer. In their photos, they looked like a happy family, beach vacations, birthdays, graduations. Rachel had no idea her husband was exchanging romantic texts with a nurse at the hospital. Just like Kevin hadn't known until a few hours ago, he didn't sleep that night. He stayed on the couch planning what to say, how to say it, when to say. Part of him wanted to wake Lisa immediately, yell, demand answers. But another part, the part that still functioned logically even amid emotional chaos, knew he had to stay in control. He had to do this right. When Lisa woke up around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Kevin was already waiting in the living room. He organized everything. He'd printed out some of the most revealing messages and left the pages on the coffee table. He'd made coffee, not out of kindness, but because he needed something to keep his hands busy. Kevin, you didn't go to work. Today, Lisa appeared in the hallway, still in pajamas, rubbing her eyes. I canceled appointments. He pointed to the couch. Sit down, we need to talk. His tone made it clear this wasn't a request. Lisa sat slowly, her eyes widening when she saw the papers on the table. Kevin saw the exact moment she recognized what those pages were. He watched the color drain from her face. Kevin, I can explain, Dr. Marcus Reed. Kevin cut her off, his voice calm, almost casual. Surgeon, married, 2 kids. That's the man you spent $850 on an iPad Pro for. That's the man you've been cheating on our marriage with, for he glanced at one of the printed messages. 6 months, right? Lisa opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. No sound came out. Tears started falling, but Kevin refused to feel pity. Not now. I read everything, Lisa, every message, every promise. Every time you told him I love you while coming home to say the same thing to me. Kevin leaned forward, elbows on his knees, so don't bother with explanations. Don't tell me it was a mistake. That you were confused, that he seduced you. You chose the 6 months of choices. Kevin, please, her voice cracked, desperate. I don't even know what happened to me. Marcus, he made me feel special. He gave me attention. You were always so busy with the clinic. We barely saw each other. No, Kevin raised a hand, cutting her off mid-sentence. Don't put this on me. We both worked. We had a life. If you were unhappy, you should have talked to me. You should have given us a chance to fix things together. But you didn't. You chose another man, a married man, by the way. Great ethics. Lisa sobbed now, her hands covering her face. Kevin felt a pang. Whether it was pain or anger, he couldn't tell anymore. Does Marcus know you're married? Kevin asked, though he already knew the answer from the messages. He knows. Lisa could barely speak through her tears. He said his marriage was dead, that he was going to leave her. Kevin let out a bitter laugh. Of course, it was because married guys who cheat always leave their wives, right, Lisa? Come on, you've been a nurse for 10 years. You're smart. How did you believe that? I wanted to believe, she shouted back, finally finding her voice. I wanted to feel wanted. Do you even remember the last time you really looked at me? The last time you touched me without it just being something mechanical before bed? So it was my fault. Kevin stood and walked to the window. The marriage cooled off? So you ran into someone else's arms. Perfect. But it was his life. It was his marriage crumbling in digital sentences and secret plans made behind his back, in lies carefully stacked over months. Kevin took screenshots of everything. Methodically, without rushing, he captured every incriminating conversation, every photo, every whispered promise across the screen. Then he returned the phone exactly where it had been, locked it, and quietly left the room. He sat on the living room couch in the dark, early hours and looked at his own shaking hands. Anger, sadness, and a strange sense of relief swirled inside him. Relief because now he knew he wasn't crazy. He wasn't paranoid. That outrageous gift had an explanation, and that explanation was worse than anything he could have imagined. Kevin searched the name on Facebook. Dr. Marcus Reed, cardiovascular surgeon, 42 years old. Married, 2 smiling kids, and profile picture, a boy and a girl. His wife's name was Rachel. According to her bio, she worked as a freelance graphic designer. In their photos, they looked like a happy family, beach vacations, birthdays, graduations. Rachel had no idea her husband was exchanging romantic texts with a nurse at the hospital. Just like Kevin had known until a few hours ago, he didn't sleep that night. He stayed on the couch planning what to say, how to say it, when to say it. Part of him wanted to wake, listen immediately, yell, demand answers. But another part, the part that still functioned logically even amid emotional chaos, knew he had to stay in control. He had to do this right. When Lisa woke up around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Kevin was already waiting in the living room. He'd organized everything. He'd printed out some of the most revealing messages and left the pages on the coffee table. He'd made coffee not out of kindness, but because he needed something to keep his hands busy. "Kevin, you didn't go to work today." Lisa appeared in the hallway, still in pajamas, rubbing her eyes. "I canceled appointments." He pointed to the couch. "Sit down, we need to talk." His tone made it clear this wasn't a request. Lisa sat slowly, her eyes widening when she saw the papers on the table. Kevin saw the exact minute she recognized what those pages were. He watched the color drain from her face. "Kevin, I can explain." "Dr. Marcus Reed." Kevin cut her off, his voice calm, almost casual. "Surgeon, married, 2 kids." "That's the man you spent $850 on an iPad Pro for." "That's the man you've been cheating on our marriage with for." He glanced at one of the printed messages. 6 months, right? Lisa opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. No sound came out. Tears started falling, but Kevin refused to feel pity. "Not now. I read of everything, Lisa. Every message, every promise. Every time you told him I love you while coming home to say the same thing to me." Kevin leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "So don't bother with explanations. Don't tell me it was a mistake. That you were confused, that he seduced you. You chose the 6 months of choices." "Kevin, please." Her voice cracked, desperate. "I don't even know what happened to me. Marcus, he made me feel special. He gave me attention. You were always so busy with the clinic." Weberly saw each other. "No." Kevin raised a hand, cutting her off mid-sentence. "Don't put this on me. We both worked. We had a life. If you were unhappy, you should have talked to me. You should have given us a chance to fix things together. But you didn't. You chose another man, a married man, by the way." "Great ethics," Lisa sobbed now, her hands covering her face. Kevin felt a pang. Whether it was pain or anger, he couldn't tell anymore. "Does Marcus know you're married?" Kevin asked, though he already knew the answer from the messages. "He knows." Lisa could barely speak through her tears. He said his marriage was dead, that he was going to leave her." Kevin let out a bitter laugh. "Of course he was, because the married guys who cheat always leave their wives, right, Lisa? Come on, you've been a nurse for 10 years. You're smart. How did you believe that?" "You wanted to believe," she shouted back, finally finding her voice. "I wanted Toffee wanted. Do you even remember the last time you really looked at me? That last time you touched me without it just being something mechanical before bed? So it was my fault." Kevin stood and walked to the window. "The marriage cooled off, so you ran into someone else's arms. Perfect. Real mature." The silence that fell between them was thick, suffocating. Kevin could hear his own thoughts echoing. 7 years. 7 years thrown away for 6 months of lies. "Does his wife know?" Lisa asked quietly. "Rachel, no, not yet." Kevin turned to face her. "But she will, because I'm going to tell her." Lisa went pale. "Kevin, no, please. That'll destroy his family." The kids, you should have thought of that sooner. Kevin picked up his phone. Marcus destroyed his own family the minute he decided to send you that first romantic text. Just like you destroyed hers. Rachel deserves to know just like I deserve to know and only found out because I decided to look. I'll break it off with him. Lisa stood desperate. Today. Right now, I promise I'll tell him it's over. Block his number. We can try to fix this. Kevin, please. We've had 7 years together. We had 7 years. Kevin corrected her. Now we have a marriage built on lies. I don't even know who you are anymore, Lisa. When I look at you, I see a stranger. She took a step toward him, hands outstretched, but Kevin stepped back. Don't touch me. His voice was cold, sharp. Not now, maybe never again. Lisa collapsed back onto the couch, sobbing uncontrollably. Kevin watched her. The woman he thought he knew, the woman he thought he loved, reduced to a pitiful figure drowning in self-pity. He didn't feel the compassion he expected. Only emptiness. I'll stay in the guest room. Kevin announced, you have 2 days to find somewhere else to go. After that, I'm changing the locks. And in case you're wondering, yes, I'm filing for divorce. My lawyer already has copies of everything. It was a lie. He hadn't spoken to a lawyer yet. But Lisa didn't need to know that. Kevin, the conversation's over. Lisa, he left Theron before she could say anything else, locked himself in his office. And finally let his own emotions catch up. He sat in his chair, head in his hands, and let the reality of what had happened truly sink in. His marriage was over. The woman he loved had cheated on him with a coworker, and he'd have to rebuild his life from scratch at 36. But first, there was a call to make. Finding Rachel Reed's number was easier than Kevin expected. A quick LinkedIn search led him to her professional website as a graphic designer, complete with contact info. He stared at that number on his screen for a long time, debating whether he should really do this. Then he remembered the messages. Marcus calling Rachel a burden, saying their marriage had been dead for years. He remembered Lisa laughing at something Marcus had said about his wife, and his decision became clear. He dialed the number before he could change his mind. 3 rings, 4. Hello, a woman's voice. Professional but friendly. Rachel Reed. Yes, who's this? Kevin took a deep breath. My name is Kevin Patterson. You don't know me, but I need to talk to you about something important. It's about your husband, Dr. Marcus Reed. There was a pause on the other end. What about Marcus? Did something happen? Not an accident. Kevin rubbed his face with his free hand. Look, this is going to be hard to hear, and I'm really sorry I have to bait anyone to tell you, but your husband's having an affair with my wife. Lisa, she's a nurse at the hospital where he works. The silence that followed was absolute. Kevin could hear Rachel's breathing growing faster, shallower. How do you know this? Her voice trembled. I found messages. Hundreds of them. It's been going on for 6 months. I can send you proof if you want. Screenshots, dates, everything. 6 months. Rachel repeated it as if testing the words on her tongue. 6 months. And I didn't notice a thing. Neither did I, Kevin said quietly, not until yesterday. When I saw she'd spent $850 on a gift for him, that's when I started digging. $850. Rachel let out a sound that washed off laugh, half sob, while I'm over here clipping coupons to save on groceries. My God, Rachel, I'm so sorry. I know this is send me the proof. She cut him off, her voice now steady, controlled. Send me everything you've got. Rachel sighed heavily. We're in the same boat, Kevin. 2 fools who trusted the wrong people. After the call ended, Kevin sent Rachel every screenshot, every message, every photo, every piece of evidence he collected. Then he waited. It didn't take long. 3 hours later, Lisa's phone started teetering frantically. Kevin was in his office when he heard her answer, her voice rising in panic. Marcus, calm down. What happened? What do you mean your wife knows? Kevin didn't need to hear the rest. He could picture it perfectly. Rachel had confronted Marcus. Maybe in front of the kids, maybe not. But she definitely confronted him. Armed with undeniable proof, there was no way Marcus could deny it. No way to lie. When she had edited detailed screenshots, Lisa appeared in the doorway of his office minutes later. Her face red from crying. You told his wife. It wasn't a question. Rachel called him at the hospital. Caused a scene. Everyone knows now. The whole hospital knows. Kevin, my career. Your career. Kevin swiveled in his chair to face her. You're worried about your career. Lisa, you cheated on your husband with a married coworker for 6 months. Do you really think your professional reputation should be your priority right now? I'll be reassigned, she nearly screamed. They'll put me on permanent night shift away from Marcus, away from everyone. They'll isolate me. Good. Kevin turned back to his computer. Sounds fair. Fair. You ruined everything. You could have kept this between us. We could have worked it out privately. But no, you had to involve his wife, create a scandal. Kevin stood so fast his chair spun. I ruined it. Me. He laughed, a humorless sound. Lisa, all I did was tell the truth. You and Marcus destroyed 2 marriages. You're both responsible for every consequence that follows. Not me. Marcus is going to hate me for this, she whispered. Great. Kevin walked past her toward the door. Maybe then the 2 of you will finally feel even a fraction of what Rachel and I are feeling. He left the house, got in his car, and drove with no destination in mind. He ended up parked at a lookout point about 20 minutes away, a place he and Lisa used to visit in the early years of their marriage. It was ironic that his feet had led him there. Now, sitting on the hood of his car, Kevin looked down at the city spreading out below. So many people, so many lives unfolding at once. How many of them were living these too? How many were betraying or being betrayed right at that very moment? His phone rang. Unknown number. Kevin answered. Kevin, it's Rachel. Hope hey, don't mind. I pulled your number from my call log. I don't mind. Kevin said, how are you holding up? Honestly, I don't know. Confused, angry, maybe relieved. It's weird. Shepaused. Marcus confessed everything. Said he'd been planning to leave me for months, but didn't know how. That Lisa was the love of his life. Kevin's chest tightened. I'm sorry, Rachel. Don't be. You did me a favor. If you hadn't called, I might have gone years without knowing. Decades, maybe, Rochelle sighed. I've already called a lawyer. I'll file for divorce tomorrow, and I'm asking for full custody of the kids. Good luck with that, and you? What are you going to do? Kevin looked toward the horizon where the sun was beginning to set. Same thing. Divorce. Start over. No kids to complicating, so maybe it'll be easier. Do you think we'll ever be able to trust again? Rachel asked, her voice small. Other people? I mean, you, Kevin answered honestly. But I hope so. They talked for another half hour. 2 complete strangers connected by shared pain mirrored betrayal. When they hung up, Kevin felt marginally better. Not healed, but less alone. In the days that followed, everything moved quickly. Lisa moved into a small apartment near the hospital. Kevin hired a divorce attorney who assured him the process would be relatively straightforward. They had no kids and no significant assets beyond the house, which was in Kevin's name. The messages between Lisa and Marcus served as clear evidence of adultery, which in their state sped things up. Marcus. According to updates, Rachel kept sending Kevin lost privileges at the hospital. He wasn't fired, but he was removed from elective surgeries for 6 months, a professional penalty for inappropriate conduct with staff. His reputation among colleagues plummeted. Surgeons may have big egos. Both hospitals took harassment and inappropriate relationships seriously, especially those involving power dynamics between doctors and nurses. Lisa, as she predicted, was transferred to a permanent night shift in a different department. Through mutual acquaintances, Kevin heard she'd become socially isolated. Nurses' gossip and the story of her affair with Marcus spread like wildfire. She was seen as the other woman, the one who'd shattered a marriage with kids involved. The irony wasn't lost on Kevin. Lisa had gone to Marcus because she wanted to feel special, desired, alive. Now she was lonelier than ever. 6 months after the discovery, Kevin signed the final divorce papers. It was surprisingly anticlimactic. 1 signature, 1 stamp, and 7 years of marriage officially dissolved. He expected to feel something dramatic, some wave of emotion, but all he felt was quiet exhaustion. The vet clinic was doing well, better than ever. In fact, Kevin had thrown himself into work during the separation, expanding the business and hiring another vet to share the load. Staying busy was the best therapy he could have asked for. It was on a Saturday morning, almost a year after the discovery, that Kevin ran into Lisa at the grocery store. He was in the organic produce aisle picking out fruit for the week when he saw her in the next aisle over. Lisa looked different, thinner, maybe with deep shadows under her eyes. Her hair was pulled into a messy bun. She wore her nurse's uniform, probably coming straight from a night shift. When their eyes met, Kevin saw the exact moment she recognized him. The hesitation, the urge to run, the resignation that there was no escape. "Kevin," she said as he approached. Her voice sounded tired. "Lisa," he replied, neutral. An awkward silence settled between them. Kevin noticed she wasn't wearing her wedding ring anymore. Neither was he. "How are you?" Lisa asked, more out of politeness than genuine interest. "Good," Kevin said, and realized it was true. "The clinic's doing really well, and you getting by?" She offered a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Night shift style, but she shrugged, letting the sentence trail off. "And Marcus?" Kevin couldn't help but ask. Lisa's expression shut down. "It's over, obviously. He went back to his wife, or tried to. I think Rachel wanted nothing to do with him." "She didn't." Kevin confirmed. "Last I heard, their divorce was finalized, too. Rachel's in a new relationship now. Seems happy." Lisa bit her lip, eyes filling with tears. "Good for her." Kevin looked at the woman who'd once been his wife and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no bitterness, just distant indifference, as if she were a casual acquaintance from long ago. "It should go," Kevin said, grabbing his cart. "Take care of yourself, Lisa. Kevin, wait." She lightly touched his arm. He stopped. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. I know it doesn't change anything, but it's true. I destroyed the best thing I ever had." Kevin studied her for a long moment. He saw the sincerity in her eyes, the genuine regret, but he also knew it was too late. Regret couldn't undo betrayal. Apologies couldn't rebuild shattered trust. "I know you're sorry," Kevin said gently. "And I accept your apology, but it doesn't change what happened. You made your choices, Lisa, and I'm out of mine. Now we just have to live with them." He walked away, hearing her quiet sob behind him. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. That night, Kevin added dinner on the terrace of the new apartment he'd bought. A modern loft in a neighborhood he'd always wanted to live in, but Lisa had thought was too expensive. It had river views, floor-to-ceiling windows, open space he was slowly decorating piece by piece. It was smaller than their old house, but it was his, entirely his. His phone rang. It was Rachel. "Hey, stranger," she said, and Kevin could hear the smile in her voice. "Did you see the photos I sent?" "I did. The kids are huge. How was Tyler's graduation?" "I'm emotional." He asked where his dad was, of course. "I had to say Marcus was in emergency surgery." Rachel sighed. "One day I'll have to tell them the truth, but not today. They talk like this now often." Two people would become unlikely friends through shared pain. Nothing romantic. Kevin wasn't ready for that. And neither was Rachel. Just companionship, someone who understood exactly what you've been through because they'd been there too. "I ran into Lisa today," Kevin said, watching the city lights begin to flicker on below. "How was it?" "Strange," she apologized. Seemed genuinely regretful. "Their regret always comes too late," Rachel remarked. "Marcus tried calling me last week." "I blocked his number again." "Good for you." "We're strong, Kevin. Stronger than they ever were." Kevin smiled, taking a sip of wine. "That's true." After they hung up, Kevin stayed on the terrace, watching the city pulse with life beneath him. He thought about how life could change in seconds. A bank statement, a few messages, and an entire future you'd planned could collapse. But he also thought about how life goes on. How pain eventually fades. How it's possible to rebuild, reinvent, start over. He wasn't the same man who'd blindly believed in marriage vows anymore. He wasn't naive enough to think love conquers all. But he was wiser, more careful, more aware of his own worth. Lisa had been right about one thing. She destroyed the best thing she'd ever had. But in doing so, she'd also freed Kevin to find something better. Not right away, maybe not for a long time, but someday. When he was ready, when he found someone who valued loyalty as much as he did. For now, Kevin had his clinic, his friends, his new apartment, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing he'd done the right thing. He'd respected himself enough not to settle for crumbs of affection. He'd valued himself enough to walk away from someone who betrayed him. He'd had the courage to start from zero instead of living in a comfortable lie. And in the end, that was what mattered. Not revenge, not anger, not the desire to see Lisa suffer, but the ability to move forward with dignity, knowing he'd done everything right. That when he discovered the betrayal, he didn't hesitate, didn't beg, didn't shrink himself. He confronted, processed, and rebuilt. Kevin finished his wine and went inside. Tomorrow would be another day. The clinic would have patients waiting, surgery scheduled, routines to follow, and he'd be there, present, alive, free. Free from lies, free from someone who didn't value him. Free to write the next chapters of his own story without the weight of a past that didn't deserve to be carried. As he closed the terrace door, Kevin took one last look at the glowing city and allowed himself a small smile. Life after betrayal wasn't the ending he'd imagined. It was a fresh start he never knew he needed. And that finally was to know. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next time.